Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, I'm going to be answering important messages about your love life. Now, this could be about you in general and how you perceive and receive love. This could be about a particular situation or a particular person, whether this be somebody you're with right now or maybe somebody who's, coming up from the past. Whatever pops through and is important for you to know right now, we're going to be talking about that today. And I wanted to take a moment before I get into this video to say thank you so much for your patience. I am so sorry that I was gone for a while. I'm in the middle of a move right now, and I'm actually sick again. These things happen and they can take you out more days than you had initially intended. So either way, I just wanted to put out a thank you so much for just being patient for me to be working, get through all of that. Now, let's get back to the reading. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Pick whatever group you resonate with most. I'm going to give you a moment to do so. Now that you have, you can go down to the description where your designated group is marked with the timestamp below, so you can skip to that part of the video. But either way, let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out the important messages about your love life by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are Strength card in reverse, 5 of Swords in reverse, 6 of Wands upright, Page of Wands in reverse, and your last card is 6 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so both of these cards are talking about this idea of like a higher ground or higher form of thinking. It's almost like having a mini enlightenment or mini epiphany about your situation, where you finally feel like you're able to see above it, see like a bird's eye view of the situation, and have a greater form of understanding in a way you didn't before, which is really awesome. So this is really positive, this is going on. But it looks like we have a form of interruption. It's like this higher form of thinking is going to happen and is happening in order to help make your kind of harmony within yourself and others be more fluid, if that makes sense. But we'll get into that more. Let's talk about this first. So the Strength card has a bunch of different meanings in this particular spread. So the Strength card, first off, is talking about what we will call bedroom time. And this is when you were focused way too much on it in an unhealthy way. Either you want more of it, you don't feel like you're getting enough of it, you're focused on too much if it's good enough or if it's bad. There's too much emphasis on it. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying that and being focused on it, but you're focused on it in the motivation isn't in the right place, if that makes sense. Now, the big thing I'm being drawn to by Spirit is the number 8. And that is important because it talks about your idea of, especially with the Strength card being in reverse, your view of yourself when it comes to beauty. You don't feel so great about yourself right now, which I'm so sorry that you're going through that. That is just awful. Often there's nothing anyone can really say that can pull you out of that lack of confidence when we're going through times like this. And so it's this feeling of completion, especially with the 6 of Wands being here. It's like, oh, if I get this, or if it's in a particular way, I will be a better version of me. And so there's this, whenever things aren't going your way, you start to blame the way you look. It's a lot of like, you're just off. And speaking of off, with the 8 talking about the idea of renovation and this being in reverse, the Strength card is ruled by the Sun. But we're not just talking about the Sun itself, we're also talking about sun signs. So again, this is a general reading. So whatever your, zodiac sun sign is, we're talking about the negative traits of that part of yourself. So it's like, everybody's got positive and negative traits, and we're talking specifically to your more, like, again, your zodiac sign in that region. And this part of yourself has been coming out lately. and maybe you feel you're being more impatient, maybe you're feeling emotionally imbalanced, whatever it is that goes along with that territory. It's not who you are naturally, and you just kind of feel in a funk because you're going through it and you don't identify with this part of yourself naturally and normally, if that makes sense. So anyways, over here, it talks about that needing to be fixed, and you're trying to fix it, but you aren't able to focus on it because you're focusing too much on how you look and how you want things to go, and you're just out of whack, unfortunately. And I'm so sorry you're going through that. But the thing is, that's then getting reflected into the relationship. And I'm also being told that your partner, for some of you who are in a relationship, they're actually going through something very similar. Not to the degree that you are, but something very similar. And I have a message for both people who are single and people who are currently in a relationship. So with this interaction with the Five of Swords, it looks like these negative traits are kind of the cause for what has happened in the relationship to be dysfunctional. A lot of fighting, it's been messy, it's been mean, and the thing is, both of you are unaware that you're both kind of projecting onto one another your insecurities. You don't mean to, it happens, we've all been there, we get caught up in life, we're not fully aware of what we're doing, but it's like you're doing that to them and they're doing that to you, and that's kind of what's caused this disharmony, unfortunately. And if anything, this is a wonderful opportunity, and I have a positive message, by the way, to tell you about this. So for the Five of Swords in reverse, for people who are in a relationship, this shows that you're going to come together and you're going to be able to both express, hey, I've been not feeling good about myself, or this is where my attention's at. I'm sorry I wasn't nice. Let me tell you about this. And the same thing goes for them, for you. And it's a moment where you're both hurt. You're both not in a good place because things probably have gotten a little bit too personal in the fighting, but you're coming together and you're sharing things, and it's really positive and bonding, and you can kind of get to know each other better, but get to know each other in a way you hadn't before, because you can understand like the root of the problem of what happened in the first place. And if anything, while you guys are growing and becoming closer and building confidence again within yourself personally, you can kind of find comfort knowing you have a partner who's going through the same thing too. So that's really wonderful, and that's like a very hopeful message to look forward toward to together. But for people who are single, because you're kind of learning to love yourself again and learning to not focus so much on things that you don't like about yourself, but slowly get connected with the positive traits like we talked about with your sun sign, the good things about yourself that you like, and learning to love yourself again and realize how special and unique you are as a person. You're not going to meet someone right away at the moment, but the person you're going to meet next is going to start out as a friendship and then later bloom into a relationship. This is a good thing. The universe knows what you need. And as much as you'd like to be with someone right now, and that's probably one of the reasons that you got kind of out of whack, it's been a while, you want to be with somebody, and the more and more you feel like that future special someone feels out of your distance or out of your reach, the more you don't feel good about yourself. You're like, where are they? What am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? And so this is saying you need somebody where the relationship develops slowly, because as it develops slowly, you have time to slowly show the best qualities of yourself and rediscover them for yourself. Do you see how the universe is beautifully cohesive when it works together like that? I just love that so much. Now, here's where we get this sort of like new beginning. So for people who are single and you're developing this friendship and everything's going great, it starts to bloom into, a love type of relationship. This is you here. And then as the couple, you're getting to know each other better, you're feeling more bonded again. We have a total 180, which is really great. So over here in the Six of Wands, this is kind of like you showing off and feeling like the best version of yourself. I do want to note for people who are in friendships, you can know that you can really take your time getting to know them and letting this relationship develop, because this shows me not a lot of other people are going to kind of hold a candle to your flame. No matter how bad you feel about yourself, you're killing it more than you're realizing it. And so you're not going to have to worry about anyone kind of stepping into your territory. You can take your time to open up as a person. But for everybody involved, this is kind of when you're feeling this great sense of confidence. You're just totally showing off in the best, most complimentary way possible. You know, whatever your skills are, whatever you feel like you're strong at, and it doesn't have to be the blatant charisma. I mean, I know there's many wonderful shy people out there watching. Some of my deepest and closest friendships have been deeply shy people who literally never talk to anyone, and they are wonderful people, and they have their own special traits they could show off. So keep that in mind. It does not have to be the typical norm of what you would define as a positive trait. But whatever it is, this is you showing off to your partner, for yourself, to build confidence, like we said, showing off to them, to show your attraction levels, showing off to other people. This is your time to, like, I know some people say this is a negative thing. Not now. This is a good thing for you. However, this is where things are a little, I want to say, displaced, because over here with the Page of Wands being in reverse and the way they're looking over here is they talk about you're not putting in the groundwork yet. Now, don't worry, this is not a lecture. This is saying you have to put in the groundwork of yourself as a person before you can properly show off these traits. We talked about that over here. Your groundwork is how you feel about yourself as a person, confidence, redirecting your attention from what you think is important and realizing you yourself and who you are and how you feel about yourself is the most important. That's your groundwork, if that makes sense. And this, not doing this, is not going, like, you don't want to just go out there and fake it till you make it right now. This is not going to make you happy. You're going to spiral out of control. You're going to go feeling really good and then depressed the next moment. You're not going to enjoy the ride. Don't do that to yourself. It's important that you take your time. It's important you express yourself to others, whether that be the partner you're with now or slowly this friendship you're developing. It's important. It's a slow process. That is okay. When you get this groundwork done though, oh, you will be killing it. No worries. Now, the one thing I want to note here, because I don't know, this feels kind of out of left field a little bit. This is a general reading, I have to keep that in mind, but I always like everything to kind of fit very neatly. So both of these cards and their interactions talk about this idea of security. Security for your foundation, feeling like you can trust things, something that is stationary and you can believe in. So there's an idea of like believing in yourself because you've done the groundwork and you're able to know that you can trust to be yourself fully because you've understood who you are fully. But over here, this talks also about a lack of security, something that's important for you to acknowledge, whether this be relationships in general, whatever. This almost feels like a side note for you to pay attention to. And it feels like if you don't pay attention to this, this is what's going to pull you away from all this positive stuff you need to work on. So the Six of Pentacles over here talks about like what I would describe as an inequitable exchange between you and somebody else. This can go two different ways. It can either be your partner's not investing enough time into you, and that's just someone that's not going to work. That's just not, that's going to only add to you wanting to focus on the things we talked about over here in the Strength card in reverse, about your lack of confidence, the other things where you're focusing your attention. It's the more you feel deprived, the more you want. Does that make sense? And this is just not someone you can really force to want you, if that makes sense, and isn't the right person for you. You deserve the right person. They don't deserve you. Am I clear? I just want that to be absolutely clear. But also this can be for when somebody is putting you in a position where you're kind of giving your wholehearted self and they know that, and they're kind of asking more of you than is what is appropriate, and they're not really giving that back in return. So they're taking advantage of you in so many words. If you ever feel like there's just some shift and balance, because again, you're in a time in a vulnerable place where you're more susceptible to that because you're just so desperately want to feel like balanced and normal and feel good about yourself. You can accidentally be influenced by the wrong person. It just, right now, it doesn't feel like to me this person you're with is doing that. But if you notice these tendencies and you speak up and they don't change, or you see them happening, this is a red flag for you in particular. you're going to be so vulnerable that you will talk yourself into thinking, oh, well, they'll change, or you know what? No, I'm just being silly. No, you're not being silly. Just to put it simply and plainly, right now, you need slowness and comfort and support. And if they can't match up to that right now, then it's not your time to be with them right now. It's important you feel good about yourself. And guess what? I'm seeing in all the cards, there is somebody out there, whether you're with them right now or you're slowly developing a friendship with this person, that can be that person for you. So you can have it all. You can build your confidence and have a wonderful partner. Everything's great, but be very, very aware of this. It's important because obviously it's important love messages. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it. If you did, please consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the video, like our channel, like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's talk about the important messages about your love life by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are 9 of Pentacles. That's what it is. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. The Star card upright. Ace of Wands in reverse. 4 of Wands in reverse. And your last card is, 9 of Pentacles in reverse twice. Wow. Okay, well, that's a clear message. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so I have very happy news for both couples, people in a relationship, and single people. Again, this is a general reading. We're trying to include everybody in here. But it's really interesting information in contrast to the sort of messages you're being given for the overarching theme. But we'll get into that in a moment. So for couples, guess what? I have good news. Everything's going to be okay. I'm specifically talking about couples who are in some sort of a difficult, like a break. You're somehow separated. You haven't talked in a bit. There's been some sort of like, I'm tired, I need some time apart, we'll talk about it later kind of thing. Well, guess what? That's going to be ending soon, and you're going to be getting back together, which is really awesome. Over here, both of these cards talk about it directly, but the Star card also is like a very hopeful message saying like, everything's going to be okay, don't worry. In fact, actually, it also talks about whatever was kind of like an issue before and maybe potentially the cause of why you two were separated for a time period will actually later on be a really beneficial thing that you'll look back together and be like, oh, isn't that so great that happened? Or that when that now is, working towards our benefit or something like that. So overall, a win-win, which is really awesome. Over here, the 4 of Wands, again, is a very hopeful message that everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. But it does talk about the two of you both needing to put in effort still. Like you're not quite there. We're not done yet. But we'll get into more detail to this particular part of the spread later on. So for single people, this directly talks about the time period of being single is going to be ending. Really awesome. Like I said, for both of you guys. Now, for single people, it doesn't give me specifics about who you are meeting and how, but it more focuses on you as a person, for both people who are in a relationship and people who are single. And this is where we get into the overarching theme like we talked about before. So nearly in every card, here, and even a little bit here, talks about this idea of you needing to focus more on yourself and your inner power and your inner potential. And so we'll get over here first. So the 9 of Pentacles directly talks about the idea of you needing to not focus and rely so much on other people and relying on other people to give you the happiness that you would seek, and instead turn towards yourself and give it to yourself first. So this is for a couple reasons. This is about gaining some happiness for yourself, inner happiness. This is kind of like a deeper kind of question you need to ask yourself. This is something that's going to attract your partner to you because they see that you're not kind of putting so much emphasis on them and they kind of feel less of a weight on their shoulders. Not that your love is a burden. I just want to be absolutely clear about that. It's more just sometimes people misinterpret other people's personal pain or struggle, because often when we rely on other people, it's for a good reason. We're going through something. We need that extra support. But right now, it's actually best if you find that support from yourself, because fun fact, it's there. You're more capable than you were aware of, and you're going to gain a lot of strength from this, which is really awesome and beautiful. But also, this is a bit of a manifestation thing. So you can manifest in like a bunch of different ways. It's really cool. If you want me to do a video about it, I'd be more than happy to. Manifestation is done in a multitude of ways. There's no wrong or necessarily right way, but in your particular situation, you're being told about what's going to work for you in this moment. So sometimes we have this like attracts like type situation where as you focus more on yourself and you depend more on yourself and you trust yourself, you're basically telling other people, hey, trust me, I trust me. Hey, look how cool I am and give me attention. I'm giving me attention. Does that make sense? And it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And it's really awesome and a really fun thing to look into. But we have over here, this is really interesting with the Ace of Wands in reverse next to the star. So the Ace of Wands talks about this concept where there's just kind of like a lack of motivation, a lack of enthusiasm. Now, I can interpret this in two different ways, and I'm going to share both because I feel they're both important with your partner as well as with you. So over here, where should I go first? We'll end on more of a positive note. So the Four of Wands says, hey, guess what? Everything's going to be okay. It's all going to work out between the two of you, but you both need to still put in effort. It's not done yet. You still need to show one another that you care, so on and so forth in the relationship. But it can also pop up when the partner is kind of, what's the word? They think a little too, highly of themselves. Like they think, oh, of course my partner's into me. Of course they're lucky if I come back, and they need to cool it. The lack of motivation comes in because they think they don't need to try hard. And by you showing more of your own confidence for yourself, you're saying, listen, I'm pretty great. You do need to work hard. I'm worth the effort. I see that I'm worth the effort, and maybe I don't want to choose you. I don't mean taking that mentality. I'm just trying to give you an example of how it's motivating them to then take on more of this attitude, because they're a little not as motivated because they're a little too full of themselves right now. Does this make sense? I hope this is coming through clearly. But this lack of enthusiasm gets extended upon when we have the star. So unfortunately, sometimes we mean well, and when we're trying to help our peers around us or ourselves, we're a little too realistic or pointing out flaws, not to be negative, but to prepare people for the worst. But that's kind of the problem right now. It would be best for you, especially with what's going on in the other cards and the star card, to kind of take sort of a mentality of, the best way I can put it is like a flower, person. You everything's great, everything's positive, sunshine always looking to the bright side. I know at first it might feel like you're forcing it and you wonder, am I faking this? Is this not the real me? Right now, it's actually what you need and what's going to attract people to you. It's the inspiration you need within yourself, to be honest, and it's the inspiration that is going to attract your partner, both your next partner in line for people who are single, and the person you're bringing back to you. When they are coming back to you and they see you taking on this more positive demeanor, it's like you show that you're your own personal star, so to speak, that you can shine brightly all on your own. You don't need fuel or energy from anybody else, and you kind of become infectious in the best way possible. That's kind of what you need right now and what you're in the relationship needs in general. So yes, it's a little bit of like making it happen even though you don't know it, but it's an awareness that you have been kind of losing a sense of enthusiasm for yourself and life, and you're kind of almost too goal-oriented on what you would like to have than asking yourself right now, well, are you happy with what you have right now? And maybe you need to realize that there's a lot. Let me try to say this as succinctly as possible. So the Nine of Pentacles is about a garden and being really resourceful. And so there's this garden is filled with everything this gardener needs. And they are able to do so much with what they already have. And this is a beautiful sign saying you do already have everything you need for happiness, for confidence, for love. But right now you think that you're not getting the results you would like. You're focused on too much of what's missing, if that makes sense. And so this is kind of this sort of attitude change kind of revitalizes a part of yourself that you're not even fully aware is happening, if that makes sense. So overall, it's about focusing on you, realizing what you have within yourself, and it just kind of benefits you in the long run with everybody else around you. So it's kind of all about you right now in the best way possible. Understand that even though some things are well-intentioned, they're just hurting you, and you'd be actually better off changing this perspective. You can look forward to these positive messages that are coming your way by getting back with your future partner, by giving more attention and love to yourself, and realizing it's a really happy, hopeful message. Can you even imagine if let's say you wanted to cook or something like that, right? And you kept being upset that you felt like you didn't have enough resources, like kitchen utensils, and then one day someone opens up a cabinet and goes, "Didn't you know you had a blender?" And you're like, "I didn't even know." Isn't that exciting? You already had the blender all along. That makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope this was helpful. I really loved giving it. If you received something from it, please consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out this channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I look forward to talking to you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's look at the important messages about your love life by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. 10 of Cups upright. Ace of Cups upright. And your final card is 9 of Wands in reverse. Interesting. We've got a really dynamic color thing going on here, and it has a lot of meaning. But we'll get to that in a moment. I just think I need to pull some more cards going on here because I need to understand something. So we have 5 of Cups in reverse. Okay, that makes sense. Kind of feels like it's just an emphasis of this. The Hierophant. Okay, they're really struggling to let something go. They're struggling to process something. Oh, and 10 of Swords in reverse. Okay, so that's great. That kind of fulfills a hunch I had. But let me just find out what's going on right over here. Okay, 5 of Cups again in reverse. The message is loud and clear. Okay, so let's get into all of this jazz. I can tell you right off the bat, this is going to work out positively in your favor. And I'm really happy to say that because, obviously I share both messages, whatever, the outcome is I talk about, but I'd prefer to share happier news. So it looks like you're kind of put in what is the phrase? A rock in a hard place type of situation. It looks like you're very giving and open and you want the best for the relationship. And I can tell over here your partner is just not budging. But let's start over here. So, okay. So like we talked about colors. So Ace of Pentacles, see this as you offering to the person you care about, hey, guess what? I'm into you. This is what I'd like. Let me show you. You're really eager to show them. Look at this beautiful rainbow of colors you have, all these good intentions you have to offer them. However, this rainbow becomes kind of a muddled brown. your partner doesn't really know what to do with all this positive intention. They're kind of a little bit off, so to speak, at the moment, especially when we see the Five of Cups repeated twice, but we're going to get into that. So the Ace of Pentacles paired with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse does highly imply there is an inequitable exchange financially between you and your partner. It looks like you're giving a lot and, well, they're just taking. They're not really interested in giving to the relationship, whether that be taking you out on dates, or it doesn't have to be financial. It can just be some sort of practical or physical way of showing their affection. And we're talking about more than the act of like cuddling. We're talking about gestures, if you know what I'm saying. But both of these cards talk about this idea of impulse decisions, that your partner is acting kind of irrationally and making choices that give them instant gratification. Again, due to the Five of Cups. Again, we'll get into that in a moment. So when you give them all this positivity, you're not doing anything wrong, but unfortunately they just don't know what to do with it, and it becomes all this brown mess. They just gobble it up too quickly. And then that then causes what happens in the Ace of Pentacles, which is, does your partner ever, do they ever make you feel like you start to question the relationship, question yourself, and you're just kind of confused? You second guess a lot is the best way I can put it. Well, guess what? That is not because of you. Unfortunately, that is because of your partner and what they're going through at the moment. It's still no excuse, but just if you start to second guess yourself, it's not because of something you did, it's how they're making you feel. Does that make sense? I just want that to be clear. So we do have positive happy omens over here with the Ten of Cups. This card is about bliss and just like being really open and affectionate in your relationship and just letting your partner know. Often this is another positive sign that when you guys have been through something or they have some sort of past, it's better that everybody knows, because it will actually strengthen the bond between you guys, which is really cool. So whatever vulnerabilities they need to express or have gone through or are going on in their mind, you will know about, and it will make you guys closer for that. So lots of positive happy omens here. I do want to note that while they need to work on stuff to have a better perspective when it comes to the concept of being close with someone, building a future with somebody right now, there is the potential for that to become that in the future. So this is like building a family, so to speak. You know what I mean? And that doesn't have to be something that you want or your intention, but it's the idea that they're kind of like warped perspective right now. They're only thinking in the moment now, but in the long term, they have the potential of having that sort of mindset, if that makes sense. Ace of Cups talks about a lot of the problems being capable of being solved if you guys just kind of have a heart-to-heart and be really open and share your emotions with each other. And again, it's not just what you're thinking, it's about specifically what you're feeling, and they are feeling a lot. And this is where kind of things kind of hit a rough patch, so to speak, when we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. See, the Nine of Wands in reverse shows that your partner's kind of being stubborn right now. This is stubborn for a reason, kind of unwilling to give in and change their habits due to kind of being really tired and exhausted. They've been fighting for a while with themselves, with what they want, but more importantly, the past. This is where we come back to the Five of Cups in reverse. See, the Five of Cups in reverse talks about something from their past being still very painful for them. Now, again, the Five of Cups for couples is a very positive omen. It talks about the concept that, again, heart to heart, being really close and open, being stronger after knowing each other's past kind of thing. So it's really positive overall. But this also talks about the overarching idea that they're allowing what has hurt them in the past that's irrationally making them make irrational decisions now, like affect them. Does that make sense? Like they need to kind of not to be inconsiderate, but get over it. They need to let it go. And it looks like they're having trouble letting go of it because with the Hierophant, it talks about this idea of unconventional. Now, again, we're being really broad about this because I'm not being given specific clues of what this thing is. So it feels like, again, this is a general reading. This feels like a pretty broad subject that can't be summed up into one card, if that makes sense. But whatever it is, they had a very set viewpoint of like, this is how it was meant to be. This is how it was meant to go. And they just can't accept that however something worked out in the past wasn't the typical for them, typical for what they're used to, their mentalities, their morals, whatever it is. And it really upset them, and they just are so fixated on it, and they're having trouble letting it go. They're gonna let it go. They need to let it go, but that's the reason they're kind of holding on for it so long. And they've kind of been through it for a long time, fighting, trying to get over it. They're almost there. This is a positive sign. They're almost there, but that's a huge reason why they're kind of closed off to your openness, your love. You're willing to say, well, what's wrong? How can I help? How can I show you I care? But then we have the Ten of Swords in reverse. Again, another wonderfully happy omen. Every single card here, 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 and here all talk about this concept that things are going to get really bad or currently really bad for you at this moment. Pretty so bad that you think that you're never going to see them again. But in fact, you are. You guys are both going to get over this problem that you're going through. You're going to get over it, no problem. And in fact, are going to become a stronger, I'm so sorry, I'm sick, couple for it. So it's kind of this really intense battle at the moment. Every single card just asks you to be very patient and understanding. I don't think this is going to be an easy thing. You're not really doing anything wrong, and you can't really do anything different. This is more on them. This is their personal problem. They need to be the one to let go of the past. They're having trouble letting go because of, again, their set beliefs and how they feel like if they let go, they've let go of the fight, if that makes sense. And that's not the case at all. They need to realize a part of the fight is letting go in order to be able to face you and what you have to offer. Keep doing you. Keep being wonderful. But when you feel like you're second guessing yourself, that's not you. That's how they respond to what you have to offer. Keep doing what you're doing. You're fine. When they come around, they're going to really need that part of yourself. And everything will change and be beautiful, and you'll have a better understanding who they are and what they've gone through and feel more bonded after they open up. But just understand that they've been through so much, it's just kind of impossible for them right now to sum it up into words. Like I said, they're more fixated on instant gratification, what they can get now, because they're kind of almost in survival mode and have a warped perception. Things are going to change. Things are going to get better. But try not to take it personally, if that's the best way to say it. Keep being patient, understanding. But I will say a mental note here that definitely stand up for yourself if you feel like you're being taken advantage of. You can't just wait for them to kind of project their feelings on you. You know what I mean? Like, you can respond with love and understanding, but it's also okay to say, hey, stop doing that. I don't want to be treated that way. You know what I mean? Well, anyways, if you enjoyed this reading as much as I did, please consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It was just such a pleasure going through reading this. It was a little bit complex for me, but, you know, I enjoyed the challenge. Either way, have a wonderful day. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe helps out the video like you would not believe. But either way, have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's look at the important messages about your love life by looking at the cards. Your tarot cards are Page of Pentacles in reverse, Ten of Swords in reverse, King of Cups upright, Two of Swords in reverse, and your final card is Two of Cups in reverse. Interesting. There's sort of like a disconnect, like it's all meant to go together, but we have this severance. Very appropriately by the King of Cups. Let me just pull one more card because I want to understand what's going on here better. Three of Pentacles upright. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's get into this. So the King of Cups right now is acting as sort of a river. And rivers often in symbology, especially with spirituality, talk about the idea of life. So there's like a beginning of life, there's an end of life that goes the same for the source and the ending source of the river. But when you're in the river, you're in the journey of it, so to speak. So you're kind of like in that like really pivotal kind of life growing time period in your life right now when it comes to love. And there's just sort of a disconnection. Like both of these things intertwine with one another, but if they're on opposite sides of the river, then how are you going to understand that they all connect and that you need both of them? In addition to that, the King of Cups upright is somebody who's able to understand complex emotional situations. They are able to see the picture as a whole, kind of like an objective third-party member, and they're then able to both emotionally handle but see everything going on at once. And that's something that's not going on right now, and you need to be able to be aware of that. So let's talk about the cards individually and then how they all match up. So over here, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, which talks about wasted time and energy. Sometimes it's done out of like a lack of motivation and just being uninterested, but sometimes it's just like you're not really sure where to put your energy, so you're just trying out different things, and there's a certain subconscious awareness that it's not adding up to anything, and you're aware you're making the wrong decisions, but you're not really sure how to fix it. You know what I mean? So you keep trying, and you're just like, well, I'll keep trying, but you're not really sure where to go or what to do, so to speak. And you're being told directly you're wasting your own time and energy. But then over here, we have the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is like by the smallest sliver of hope, this relationship you're currently in, for people who are coupled, is going to work out. And by some miracle, it's going to be okay. And that's the same thing for single people too. Something is going to happen here where you're going to have some sort of relationship you were not expecting. You couldn't even believe it happened. It seemed like you had no, horse in the race, or whatever the phrase is, but it happens. But there's a disconnect. You're being directly told to fix something, recharge, rechange your energy, do something different than what you're doing now. That could be the opposite. That could just be anything different than what you're doing now, because you're kind of preventing yourself from having this positive outcome. But let's continue on with that. So over here, this is a couple things. Remember, this is a general reading, and I like to include all messages because, you never know who it's helpful for. On one hand, the Two of Cups does talk about somebody dating somebody. And now keep in mind, this would be a different relationship for this particular situation you're in. But you're with somebody, and this particular somebody is actually still sort of in another relationship, unbeknownst to you, unfortunately. You might even be the rebound. And they are kind of trying to decide, should they be with you? Should they be with this other person? But the thing that's sort of disheartening, but something you should be aware of, is that when they are trying to make this decision of who to be with, it's not that they choose you or don't choose you. It's that whatever choice they make, they're more making it out of their own selfish needs and their interests rather than they really like you or dislike you. So it's almost like an impersonal thing either way. And I hope that gives you some sort of comfort, but it's also something to be wary of if they do choose you. Do you see what I'm saying? But the more important thing I want you to take from this, for this more applies to everybody. So the Two of Cups in reverse talks about the idea that there are certain things that keep repeating for you in relationships. And it's a combination of things that you do and things that have been done to you. And with these two things, this is the cause of why it's happening. And you need to slow down, figure out what do you keep doing? What do you keep allowing to keep happening to you? And this is what the cycle is within itself, if that makes sense. And the Two of Swords is kind of like, you need to make a decision in order to stop this from happening. But you're always hesitating, you're waiting. And this is saying, if you don't make that decision, you're going to miss your opportunity. So now here's where they start to all kind of meld together. You're wasting your energy and time at the moment, and you need to stop doing that, because this wasted time and energy is what's preventing you making the best decision. Does that make sense? Like, the more you focus on what you're doing wrong or where you gotta stop. You have to just, you're kind of doing this to avoid this, if that makes sense. But when you make this decision, it's the thing that then opens up this kind of like last sliver of hope, so to speak. And this last sliver of hope is a huge positive thing that moves you out of this repeating cycle time and time and time again. Do you see how they're all starting to interlace like a woven blanket, so to speak? But the problem is, you would have to have this sort of perspective to be able to see all of these things at once to best understand what's happening and be able to intertwine them. Now, I did want to get a little bit of a clue over here about what is the thing that you're wasting time on, or where should you put your energy in order to make this happen. It looks like you need to focus your energy on some sort of team situation. This could be with a group of people. Maybe this is where the other person is. If you're in a current relationship, this would be like doing something with your partner where it's not so much about going on a date together, but working on some sort of skill or fun activity in order to feel closer as a couple. So that's just to give you a little bit of a hint or a clue where to put your attention. But I hope this was helpful and it made sense that this is what you need to do at the moment, that it's right there. You're so close to breaking some of these repeated cycles that I don't know if you're fully aware of. You have to stop hesitating. I know it's really hard, but making the scarier choice in this particular situation is the right one. And it's going to be a huge jump and a skip back to the path you were meant to be on. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed delivering this message. If you did, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get, oh wait, this is the fourth group. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye.